Hey y'all, welcome back to Bible Studies with Brooke. We're trying a different mini mic than last time, but I think this one has better audio. But guys, today we're going to be reading from Mark 7, where Jesus cooks the Pharisees. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but basically what happened is that Jesus' disciples were eating food without washing their hands first, which the Pharisees' laws was illegal, and they called it having defiled hands. So the Pharisees were like, why don't you guys live to the tradition of the elders? And Jesus goes, Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you hypocrites. It is written, these people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are merely human rules. He says, you have let go of the commands of God and are holding on to human traditions. And he continued and said, you have a fine way of setting aside the commands of God in order to observe your own traditions. Then he goes on and gives more examples. Pharisees, clock. And that passage really just shows the old versus new covenant, which I have talked about in previous videos. Okay, so we're at verse 14, and the rest of this little section is what I'm going to be talking about. It says, again, Jesus called the crowd to him and said, listen to me, everyone, and understand this. Nothing outside a person can defile them by going into them. Rather, it is what comes out of a person that defiles them. After he had left the crowd and entered the house, the disciples asked him about his parable. Are you so dull? He asked. Don't you see that nothing enters a person from the outside can defile them? For it doesn't go into their heart, but into their stomach and then out of the body. In saying this, Jesus declared all foods clean. Again, another thing with Old Covenant versus New Covenant. He went on, what comes out of a person is what defiles them. For it is from within, out of a person's heart, that evil thoughts come, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, lewdness, envy, slander, arrogance, and folly. All of these evils come from inside and defile a person. Yeah, if you're getting convicted right now by the Holy Spirit, that's exactly what happened to me when I first read that. So anyways, yes, God sees your heart. And Jesus is so right that all these sins do start from inside of us. Also, let's keep in mind, Jesus never sinned, which means that his heart is completely pure. But for the rest of us, all of us have sinned. So here are two things to kind of help stop your sin pattern. First one is take every thought captive and submit it to the obedience of Christ, which I'm pretty sure Paul thought of first. So the idea behind this is that we're always thinking, and sometimes what we think is not right, or we're thinking about a sin. We're not thinking about holy righteous things. We're thinking about opposite of that. And so the idea is that as soon as a bad thought surfaces, instead of entertaining it and keep thinking about it, we say, this is not a good thought. And I literally, every time I do this, I just imagine I'm kicking the thought out of my head. And I say, dear Jesus, I'm thinking this. Please take this out of my mind. And then I completely shift my thoughts to go to something else. That way our thoughts don't develop into sin. Other thing is very important is to fear the Lord. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. And if you love God, if you fear God, you will want to obey his commandments. You're going to want to be running away from sin because sin separates you from God. But also talk to God and pray on it. He'll teach you what to do. Bye y'all.